Basically, the requirement today was not to speak about campus. How many of you heard about campus before? Okay, great. Repeating Carlos's line of questioning. I will mention a little bit about campus in the end to give you some context, but really today I'm wearing my own hat as a startup fan slash blogger, mentor, and someone that is very involved in the startup community of what I think is going to be exciting in 2013. And rather than picking on different companies, I decided to select a trend that I think is going to be huge going forward. So a little bit about me, and I won't bore you with this too long, but I've been around with some companies that end with .com, in Israel, in the States, in New York, in San Francisco, and then in London. I co-founded a startup in 2003 that developed text input solutions for PDAs. I'm dating myself a little bit. And I kind of like the constant all of this time has been working with startups or at startups and helping startups grow. So today I'm going to talk to you about what I think is the new type of shopping that's going to be part of our lives going forward. And I'm going to talk about collaborative consumption. How many of you have heard of collaborative consumption before tonight? Great. Collaborative consumption is all about sharing, and this is the definition from Wikipedia. It's an economic model based on swapping, bartering, gifting, trading, or renting access to products as opposed to ownership. So up until now, we were used to creating transactions, going to an e-commerce site, putting a credit card, getting the product, that's it. But going forward, I think that you'll be much more used to having relationships when it comes to shopping. And Carlos touched a little bit on Pinterest and some of the social commerce models, and this has a little bit to do with it. But the difference here is that we're not talking about faceless transactions, we're talking about relationships, and that changes everything. What are the benefits of collaborative consumption? First of all, it has less carbon footprint. You don't have to manufacture, 1,000 whatever drills for 1,000 people to use them. You manufacture a few and people can share the same drill. Second, we're recycling products, so it's green, and there's lots of people that would actually care a lot about the fact that their purchase, what they're doing, doesn't contribute to a negative impact on the world. And finally, there's an element of happiness that comes from the social interaction. Like, sure, I could just buy the product, but actually it's kind of cool to get to meet new people or people that share the same passion and interest as I do, because it becomes a community of people that are passionate about collaborative consumption. VCs have noticed this, and in the past few years, the amount of investment in collaborative consumption has been going up steadily. So in 2011, this is in the US alone, collaborative consumption startups have raised around $400 million in total. And I foresee that this trend will continue not only in the US, but in the UK as well, and the rest of Europe. And today, I will show mainly UK companies that I thought were implementing collaborative consumption in a very cool way. There's a million other examples. I only chose 5 because we had 10 minutes, but if you want to chat about more, you can also check my blog, vccafe.com, or I'll give you some links afterwards. First one is Tradesy. So Tradesy is fashion resale for women, and the idea here is that women have the ability to take some of the items in their closet and rent them to other women. The interesting thing about it is, on average, a woman has $5,000 of unlocked value in her closet. I definitely know that it's true with my wife, and I'm sure many of the men here know that it's true for them as well. So this is a really interesting concept, because up until now, when it comes to marketplaces, we had eBay, for example, where people could sell either new or used items, but there wasn't this concept of renting your items and selling them multiple times. So there's a few other companies in this field. I'm sure that you've heard of, what's it called? Something with the catwalk.
Girls Mistress?
No. Anyway, it will come to me. There's a million examples, again, and this is the problem. My database isn't as good as it used to be in my head, and it takes me longer to find what I'm looking for. But Tradesy is a very cool company, not a UK one, but innovating in this space. This is a company that's based at campus. Sorry, Christopher, to mention campus. I didn't want to put you to sleep, but Go Car Share is a really interesting company, and it's a marketplace for empty car seats. So you no longer have to rent the entire car. You can actually rent a car seat. There's very interesting applications for this because there's a very strong social element. So you can think about it in the sense of commuting and taking the same people or different people with you to work. If you're taking your car anyway, why not save the money on gas and take 3 other people that maybe are living next to you? But actually, some of the nicer use cases come in different social circumstances. For example, music festivals. So Go Car Share, Drummond, one of the founder of Go Car Share, is based in campus, and he loves music and he loves music festivals. He came up with this idea that you can take your favorite band to the festival. They want to drink, they don't want to drive, and they will be happy to play a private gig for you on the way. So if you're going to Glastonbury next year, make sure that you sign up on Go Car Share and you take someone with you. Similar concept, but implemented to land, it's land share. This is the ability to connect landowners with vegetable growers. And it's particularly interesting because of its green aspects, but it actually helps non-for-profit organizations generate additional revenue streams. So one of the big clients of this startup, it's a UK-based startup, it's the Church of England. So you can imagine they have a lot of grounds. They not necessarily have the people that can take care of these grounds, but listing their spaces on Landshare, they're able to utilize those spaces to create vegetables, maybe even share some of that benefit with the community. So again, coming up to lending, sharing, collaborating, rather than selling and making a faceless transaction. Another UK startup is Park at My House. Maybe you're familiar with it. This is smarter parking sharing. You no longer have to buy a parking spot. You can actually take someone's parking spot when they're at work, or you can take an empty space in the garage. So Park at My House has been operating since 2009. It's profitable. It's actually doing really well. There's lots of clones going after it. And now we see similar models coming up in different types of storage. Because if you think about it, Park at My House is essentially letting people share a physical location. Share My Storage, that's the same thing with sharing spaces. So think about garage or a container that you have in your backyard. So now people are able to share not only parking spots but also storage units, and who knows what's the next thing, like a shelf on your refrigerator or an empty drawer for underwear. But this is a really interesting one because if you think about it a little bit, I'm sure that you'll come up with plenty other ideas, and they probably are getting done as we speak. Another one that I really like that has a social entrepreneurship element to it is the Amazings. And this is a skill swap or skill bartering or skill buying for members or mentors or teachers that are 50 plus. So these are people that either already left the work environment or are pre-retirement, but they still have a lot of skills that they can share. They're active, they know how to use the internet. So you're able to go into the Amazings and learn piano from someone that was maybe a high school piano teacher for 20 years but isn't teaching in school anymore. Traditionally these people would maybe list their services in the community center or on a physical message board, but now there's lots of these marketplaces, and TaskRabbit is probably the example that we all know that let people mark their skills and offer them to the community. You know what are the most popular tasks that are sold on TaskRabbit? It actually created 2 new professions in the US. One of them is laundry folding and dry cleaning pickup, and this is something that if you live in the US, you know that it's never open. The dry cleaners are never open when you need them to be open when you're back from work, so you never see your shirts back basically. So there's thousands of people that actually make a living going to the dry cleaners with a ticket and delivering it to your house.
Milkly is the TaskRabbit of the UK.
That's true. Milkly, I had it as an example. I decided on the Amazings instead. The second most popular profession or task on TaskRabbit is IKEA furniture assembly. There's many people that make something around $5,000 a month assembling furniture from IKEA. So just think about collaborative consumption as a way of unlocking potential. This is a bonus one because I said I'll do 5, but I couldn't resist of doing this one. It's called Dog Vacay, and this is basically the ability to have dog sitting for your dog in a real house. So if you have a dog, you know that it's very hard to go on vacation and leave the dog with friends or leave it in a shelter because you're not sure how they're going to treat it and you know that it's going to miss you. So these are people that are offering their real houses, and they probably have dogs themselves, to make a little bit of extra cash and do dog sitting. But it's actually also a very vibrant community of dog lovers that connect with each other, talk about their dog passions, and also if you can think about it from a website point of view, they have plenty of ways to monetize this community with products, discount, etc. So this company raised $1 million in seed and an undisclosed A round from Andreessen Horowitz. This is serious money for a website that literally has zero cost, a startup that has zero cost to get started. So again, another way of looking at collaborative consumption is a new type of marketplace that has very little entry cost, and the value is in capturing the community of passionate people around the value proposition that you're offering. So where is it all going? 20th century shopping was all about faceless transaction. Sorry to make it sound cold, but that's a reality. It's all about advertising and individual ownership, where the more you advertise, the more people you can drag into your funnel, and then it's up to you to make that transaction or the conversion and make them into shoppers. 21st century is going to be much more about community, about trust, and about shared access versus ownership. So this is where I see things going into 2013 with collaborative consumption. I couldn't resist, and I had to include a little bit about campus. And usually the way that I describe campus, if there was an equivalent between real estate and software, campus would be this open source building where working with amazing partners like Seedcamp, Tech Hub, Central Working, Springboard, Startup Weekend, and Codec, and some others, we power the ecosystem. If you haven't been at campus yet, it's the easiest way to describe campus. It's a 7-story building filled with startups. So there's over 100 startups that are based in campus, and there's lots of events and access to mentorship. So if you're a startup, an entrepreneur, you don't have to take it from me. Just come visit. You're all welcome. All you have to do is sign up at campuslondon.com. We'll issue you with a code, and you can work from the cafe for free, or you can apply for workspace or sign up to one of the many events. Just to give you a ballpark of events, in July alone we hosted 72 events, and this is just increasing. And that's it. Thank you very much.